Opening scene. A cinematic view of Antarctica, wide shots of glaciers, icebergs, and the vast icy landscape. Calm and somber background music plays. Voiceover begins, calm and authoritative tone. Antarctica, the coldest and most remote continent on Earth, is undergoing changes at a pace that has scientists and researchers deeply alarmed. The ice sheets that have stood for millennia are now melting at an accelerated rate, and the consequences could reshape our planet in ways we're only beginning to understand. Today, we'll explore why this is happening, the threats it poses, and what can be done to address this growing crisis. Transition to a detailed map of Antarctica with animated overlays showing areas of rapid ice loss. The Antarctic ice sheet holds over 70% of the world's freshwater, frozen into vast glaciers and ice shelves. However, recent studies have revealed a troubling trend. The ice is melting faster than ever before, with rates of ice loss tripling over the past few decades. This accelerated melting is directly contributing to rising sea levels, a phenomenon that threatens coastal cities, island nations, and ecosystems around the globe. Cut to time-lapse footage of icebergs calving and glaciers retreating. To understand the gravity of this situation, consider this. If just the West Antarctic ice sheet were to collapse, global sea levels could rise by more than 3 meters. Such a rise would have catastrophic consequences for hundreds of millions of people living in low-lying areas. Entire cities could be submerged, economies disrupted, and natural habitats lost forever. Scene shifts to an animated graphic explaining the causes of Antarctic ice melt. So, what's causing this alarming melt? The primary driver is global warming, fueled by human-induced climate change. As the planet's temperature rises, the surrounding oceans are also warming. This is especially concerning in Antarctica, where warm ocean currents are undercutting the ice shelves, eroding them from below. When these ice shelves collapse, they no longer act as barriers, allowing glaciers to flow more rapidly into the sea. Another factor is the feedback loop created by melting ice. Ice sheets reflect sunlight, helping to keep the planet cool. But as they melt, darker ocean water is exposed, absorbing more sunlight and accelerating the warming process. This creates a vicious cycle that amplifies the rate of ice loss. Cut to interviews or voice clips from scientists emphasizing the urgency of the issue. Scientists warn that we are approaching critical tipping points. If these thresholds are crossed, the melting of Antarctica could become irreversible. The consequences would be felt not only in the southern hemisphere but across the entire globe. Rising sea levels would flood coastal communities, contaminate freshwater supplies, and disrupt agriculture, leading to widespread displacement and food insecurity. Transition to visuals of major cities and vulnerable regions at risk from rising sea levels. Let's take a moment to imagine what this could mean. Cities like New York, London, Shanghai, and Mumbai are already at risk from even modest sea level rise. Entire island nations in the Pacific, such as Tuvalu and the Maldives, face the threat of complete submersion. The economic costs of dealing with rising seas could reach trillions of dollars, making this not just an environmental crisis, but also a social and economic one. Voiceover shifts to a slightly hopeful tone, focusing on solutions. The good news is that there's still time to act. Slowing the melting of Antarctica requires addressing the root cause, climate change. This means drastically reducing greenhouse gas emissions, transitioning to renewable energy, and adopting sustainable practices on a global scale. Governments, industries, and individuals all have a role to play in making this shift. Cut to footage of renewable energy projects, electric vehicles, and reforestation efforts. Innovation is a powerful tool in this fight. From advanced satellites monitoring ice loss to new technologies designed to capture and store carbon, science is providing us with ways to combat climate change. Renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectric power are becoming more accessible and cost-effective, offering a path toward a cleaner and more sustainable future. Scene transitions to communities adapting to climate challenges, such as building seawalls or using sustainable farming methods. Adapting to the changes already underway is also crucial. Coastal defenses, improved infrastructure, and proactive urban planning can help mitigate the immediate impacts of rising seas. However, adaptation is not a substitute for prevention. Without decisive action to limit global warming, these measures will only buy us time. Cut to visuals of global climate protests and youth activism. The fight against climate change is a collective effort. Across the globe, people are coming together to demand action from leaders and institutions. Grassroots movements, policy changes, and individual choices all contribute to a larger shift toward sustainability. Every action counts, from reducing waste and conserving energy to supporting organizations and policies that prioritize environmental health. Voiceover becomes motivational and calls for action. Antarctica may seem distant and isolated, but its fate is deeply connected to ours. The choices we make today will determine the kind of world future generations inherit. By working together, we can slow the pace of ice loss, protect vulnerable communities, and safeguard the planet for generations to come. Closing scene. A serene view of an Antarctic glacier bathed in the soft light of sunrise, symbolizing hope and resilience. Thank you for watching and being part of this important conversation. The future